I'm starting to realize that I process everything totally different than other people do. And I'm able to express that with my painting and my art. A lot of my, in fact, why I do my spiral art is anxiety. And that's how I work out my anxiety. So you could look through even my Instagram portfolio per se, and you can see the segments of a month of anxiety, because all of my work is spirals.
Got a lot of love, yeah, that's for sure. You got music and movies, and friends and medicine. Yeah, is the show for me and you, the one you love to listen to. And ooh, you got your friends, see it through. See, 'cause laughter is medicine too. Said it's medicine too, babe.
Welcome to the Wendy Love Ed Show, sponsored by Off Leash Canine Training, Kara's Healthcare, and the Relevant app.
We don't dispense medical advice, and all your health choices are your own.
Yes, and the opinions expressed on the show today, not necessarily those of our producer, A-Edge Productions.
This is season 6, episode 9, How Does Music and Art Impact Wellness? I'm Wendy Love Edge, and this is my co-host, Branden Lee. Hey, how are you this week?
I'm doing good. I cannot believe it's already episode 9. Are you kidding me?
I know. I was thinking, how are you going to hold up fingers when we get beyond 10?
I'll go. I got toes. Let's go.
I want to see that.
I want to start pulling up toes. I'll just lose count after 10, actually. That's probably about it. That's what happens.
That's it.
Well, you talk about music. Obviously, you're with music and all the arts. My gosh, what a great subject. What a large subject to try to tackle today.
It really is. In fact, I had a long list of guests and I had to kind of narrow it down who I was going to speak with about this. There's so much to say. I mean, music and art has been shown to decrease stress, boost self-esteem. There's so many pluses to it.
Yeah. I was thinking about, some of when the pandemic kind of went through and it was kind of close to being over and people are getting back out and all the concerts and all that stuff. I said the first concert I got back to was Andy Frasco.
Oh, fun.
And I was crying. Like I was like, who cries at Andy Frasco? It's me. Like I'm the only one. But yeah, as you said, like it is so impactful. And obviously, part of my career, is thanks to music and so many other people's creative careers. So yeah, it's got a lot to do with our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, music itself, research is showing how it can decrease blood pressure, decrease stress levels, even decrease pain. It has such an impact on us. Have you experienced that?
I think I have, I bet you it was way back when I started thinking about music and how it can take pain away sometimes. And especially heartache and, those songs or those things that can really kind of make you maybe just a little bit lose yourself in, in the music. And man, the first thing I just think back to Pink Floyd back in the day, like in high school or something. And
listen, I grew up in I grew up in the 70s. Sorry to interrupt you, but I was like Pink Floyd. I mean, I went to the drive-in to see The Wall.
Oh man.
In the 70s.
That is still awesome.
Right?
Still awesome. But for some reason that music, and there's a few bands out there that do that even today. But it's just so impactful and so just influential and
Yeah,
how you feel, and sometimes bringing out those emotions. So yeah, and
yeah,
art's
for
the
sure.
same way. I believe, with music, I start thinking about this, and maybe it's a good way to approach music as an art. Is
Mhm.
it every song being a different painting, and visualizing it as that. And it is another piece of art. It's our musicians are just incredible to do what
Yes,
they do, even local and nationally. So
right, for
just
sure.
so
And
much effect.
it's nostalgic. It can take you back to happy times or not so happy too. I mean, it's just kind of like imprinted. I feel like certain songs take
Yes. You have
me
any
to different
songs that
places.
you have any songs you just don't want to hear? You hear like, no.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
I'm not going to be able to think of it. I like
yeah,
block.
but their song, if it came on, you would know it.
Right. Well, it's like something sort of traumatic happened and it was playing in the background.
Oh man.
And I can't even think of the name of it right now, but it really, I don't ever want to hear it. And every so often it comes on the radio and I'll just switch it real quick.
Yeah, you're mentioning like timestamps,
Hmm.
it's what it is. And they can be bad and good,
Right.
and I mean some songs bring me back to awesome concerts and festivals and people, and um
Yes, for
yeah, like you
sure.
said, just a profound effect.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's lots of studies about art too. I was looking at one that was published in Art Therapy showing that just 45 minutes of creating something like drawing or modeling clay collages will lower your cortisol. It actually, cortisol is responsible for, when you have a stress response and causes so
Right.
many ill effects in the body. And in 75% of the participants in this study, that was true. I mean,
So do you have like do you do any of these like clay modeling stuff? What do you have, an outlet like this to lower cortisol, Wendy?
well, I'm an artist. I paint and I do
Yeah.
multimedia stuff. And when if a lot of time passes and I don't engage in those activities, I really see a difference. So then I'll just carve out some time and immerse myself in a painting. And
Yeah.
I think it really, I see a difference, a few hours working on something where I'm not thinking about any of the stressful things in my life or
Yeah, it kind
any
of puts you
health
into a different
problems.
place.
Yes, yeah. I've never had the cortisol tested before and after, but you know, it
But
feels
it's doing
better.
something good. Yes. And that's, I think people got to realize this. There's all these scientific studies and all these hypotheses, but realize how you feel after this, and how
Mhm.
it affects your life and your time, So like you said, if you're feeling something, you feel good about it, that's do more of that. Do the things
Right.
that make you feel good, and make you feel better and healthier and stronger.
Yeah, for sure. How about you? Do you engage in artistic
Artistic
pursuits?
stuff, I've here and there do some paintings and stuff like that. I try to think about where my art outlet is. Obviously I have a radio show that I do a lot of editing and
Mhm.
fun things like that, and so yeah, there's an outlet there with that and that creative side. Yeah, I don't do very many drawings or anything like that. I actually picked up a pencil and was writing something. I realized I
Uh-huh.
hadn't even written anything, because I've
Right.
been typing and stuff. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
I don't, my handwriting looks like a kindergartner's now. Like, that's another thing you got to practice.
It's so
So,
true. And just I think it's really cathartic to actually write something out. And most people are not doing that at all anymore.
no, it's
You
it's a
know.
it's a lost art. I bet you there's a large percentage of the population that can't do cursive, can't write cursive now,
Mhm.
and so who knows if we lose that in the future. But it seems like
Yeah.
something that with art, there's so many people that are so good at it,
Mhm.
and couldn't imagine not picking up a pen and
Right.
drawing or doing something on the daily. So that's just
Yeah.
not my outlet. But I
Right.
think the creative side is more of even what we're doing now, of being able
Mhm.
to share and create content and things like that. So I think that's probably more of my outlet.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's definitely an art for sure.
It
I
takes
want.
practice the same way.
Yes, right. And the thing is, when you were talking about it's not really your outlet, I think partly if we focus on the end product, right, we might not be as inclined to do it if we don't feel like we're good at it, right?
Exactly.
But really the process for me is even more important than the product. Of course, I want to come out with a nice product at the end, but if it's not, I still don't lose all those benefits that I get from creating.
Yep,
You know?
exactly. And we've talked about this in the past where you just got to do some things. You know, go back and look at the first episodes of things. Look at the first paintings and first drawings or writings. All these things they build on. And I can tell you from being on the radio for so long that these local bands that come in, they're like, hey, we had this single last year, trash that. we got this new stuff and it's way better. And we've learned from this. And so, but you know, back when it was coming out, they were so proud and so excited about it. And they should be, you know, and I think it's a big process of growth with artists as well. Just doing it. Right. Starting that, as you say, getting the benefits from, you know, making that art, and then you could build on getting better. But you got to like it. You got to be able to love what you're doing to start creating. And still, I also definitely encourage you to embrace and respect the music and the art that you've already done.
Yes, for sure. You know, I think that is true for most artists and musicians. It's like it's never done, you know.
No.
I mean, I've taken paintings off the wall and you know, enhanced them.
Like, no, we got to do something here.
Because
he needs a mustache. He needs a mustache.
If it's in our house, I'm likely to take it down at some point and do more to it. If someone has have either gifted or they've purchased something, I don't have that opportunity, but I still
you're not taking the paint off of other people's walls, the painting off of other people's walls. You're like, listen, we're gonna have to fix this right now.
But I might want to.
If you hear this and you have Wendy's painting in your place, she's coming over. She needs to do some re-editing there. That's, you know, like, but everyone, people are perfectionists when it comes to that. But I also encourage you and you know, remind you that nothing's perfect with art. That's the beauty of it. If it's all perfect, you know, as 21 Pilots said, I don't know if you can trust that. You know, don't trust perfect. That's not cool. Yeah. You want to have something that's different, that stands out. So remember that there's people love and respect things that are different.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. Well, coming up next, my interview with Alara Lovelight. Joining me now is American R&B recording artist and performer based in New York City. Welcome to the show, Alara Lovelight.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm delighted to speak with you. So I'd love to know for our listeners and viewers also, how did you get started in music?
That's like a question that everybody wants to know, which I love, because everybody's story is different, right?
Sure.
But I firmly, truly believe that I kind of came into this world and that was the purpose and intention for my life. My mother is like a phenomenal piano player, and she played like up to the day she delivered with me.
Wow.
And she was playing the piano, and I firmly believe that I like got the vibrations of the instrument while I was kind of growing and all of that.
Womb.
I was developing, and that was kind of developing into my subconscious and everything. So she played, like I said, she played all the way through her whole pregnancy with me, and then I kind of came out and was ready to play the piano right away.
Would you say that music affects your wellness in some way?
Oh my gosh, every ounce of it. Yes, 100%. I think whether you're a musician or not a musician, you like, I always tell people that I think it's fascinating that music is vibrational, and we as human beings are also vibrational. And I think that that connection is like innate in our soul, and definitely has to do with the wellness of our mental, our physical, everything. Music therapy, there's a reason that like that's a thing, because it really is. It is mentally healing, it is emotionally healing, it can be physically healing. I think the power of music is incredible.
Wow. Yeah, a musician once said to me, well, we have a heartbeat, so we've got this rhythm going
Yes.
Already.
Yes, that's right.
So it seems like we're set up for that,
Yeah.
to tap
The
into
beat
that.
of your own drum, right? Is like,
Yes.
that comes from something. That's really a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how does the music industry can be so difficult? People are working long hours, not getting adequate sleep. Creativity can even put you into almost a mania, right?
Definitely.
So how does that how do you handle that? How does that affect your own health and wellness, and how do you learn to handle those challenges?
Yeah, gosh, you nailed it. Like, the creative mind is just like the most amazing, beautiful, and kind of scary thing, because you go there and you're like, whoa, there's a lot going on here. And it's hard to like open that door and then shut it, right? So I think for myself, I'm very like wellness and consciousness as a huge part of my being, of my day-to-day practice. I meditate every single day.
So for you, the meditation kind of keeps you grounded, and though you may go off on a tangent, not getting enough sleep, not eating well, when it's over, you're ready to recoup some of that. Is that about right?
Yeah, mentally, I think it's just a matter of, I have like those little moments during the day where I'm like, okay, I get super overwhelmed, or, I'm not just an artist, but I run my own company and my own artistry, which again is like the best thing ever, but also comes with lots of responsibilities.
Right.
And so I think any artist is very important to take it, I'm trying to learn more and more about really how to catch myself. I'm learning more about like the observation of my actions and my feelings. And I'm like, oh, I see that I'm overwhelmed. I need to move on from this task. Yeah.
I think that's kind of the first step, recognizing what's going on, and then what you need to do about it, I guess, is the next one,
Right.
But, yeah, right. Is it stressful for you? I know you've worked with, Grammy award-winning producers and #1 Billboard artists. How do you handle that stress, or is it stressful for you?
I don't know that it's stressful for me. I think that it makes me a little anxious in the best way. It's like, I remember when I was young, my dad being like, if you ever do something or play a sport or you do something, you should do it with somebody who's better than you, because they're gonna elevate you. And that's how I feel. I feel like I have worked really hard in terms of studying music and learning ins and outs. And I feel the confidence and empowerment that I deserve a space in that room, even though I haven't gotten my Grammy yet. That's, to me, like, I believe in manifestation and I believe in the future self.
Nice.
Yeah.
It sounds like your dad gave you really great advice.
Yeah.
And you have such a wonderful attitude that has to impact on your own health and wellness as well, going in with confidence, knowing that you belong there. I think people can learn a lot from that kind of attitude, and setting things up in a really positive way. So I understand that in 2018 you founded the You Matter movement.
I did.
Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Of course. Yeah. You Matter is a song that I wrote in 2018. And, somebody kind of I'm always amazed at how one thing is actually for another thing. Is actually, you're like, oh, I thought I was doing this, but actually, that was for this.
Synchronicity.
Definitely, 100%. And so somebody had asked me to write a song for their Instagram page about, it was a weight loss Instagram page. And they wanted me to write a song, which it never even linked up with like nothing ever happened with that. But the universe, that was for something else. So it inspired me to write a song. And I was like, how do I write a song that speaks to everybody? You know, weight loss people, I have formerly gone through a transformation physically. So I was like, yeah, people, like, I know how that feels, but I want to write a song that everybody can relate to, that makes everybody feel empowered, not just somebody on their weight loss journey.
Nice.
And that's where kind of the concept of You Matter came from, because I was like, how do I, portray a lyric or a song that makes anybody feel important? And so I was like, you matter, of course, everybody matters, no matter what your hair or your skin tone or your anything, your sexual orientation is like, no, you matter. And that's what was really important to me. So I wrote that song, and then we ended up doing the music video for it. And it kind of just turned into a movement of empowerment and people telling their story and talking, like, I have a lot of different stories, like I can relate a lot on a lot of different levels, but I can't tell everybody's story. I can't, I haven't lived certain things. Everybody's different. So I went and I did a music video, and we had a whole bunch of different types of people tell their story. And it was such a cool thing to be a part of.
I love that.
And,
Wow.
see them tell their stories. I had thought, oh, everybody will tell this different story and they'll feel empowered. But a lot of their stories started to overlap. And I was like, wow, we all think we're going through this and nobody understands and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, actually, we're a lot of the same, of the same feeling, like no matter what the experience is, there's still a feeling of loneliness, or there's still a feeling of fear. And like those base feelings, we all go through. Yeah.
That's so
that's
true.
where it came from.
So true. Yeah. I love your description of it. It sounds absolutely beautiful. And that you can use music to help people to understand that and see those connections. What a beautiful thing.
Yeah, the best. Such a blessing.
So where can people find your music and get in touch with you?
They can find me a few different ways. EROTICY is doing like amazingly well. Every single day is kind of a new exciting thing. It recently did 1 million views on TikTok, which is like
fantastic,
crazy to think how like those things, it can happen overnight. Somebody, 1 million people can hear it overnight. That's so cool. And it recently got picked up by Pandora. So that's all to say that if you Google Alaura Lovelight, you'll probably find me. But I usually tell people, like, whatever your music preference is, the music is probably there. Your streaming preference, whether that be online or Apple Music or Spotify, you can find it there. And then personally, people can find me at Alaura Lovelight on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok. They can find me there. And then if they want to learn more about my company, we offer like courses and workshops and empowerment, the You Matter movement. So people can go to lovelightsoundmusic.com and they can find me there too.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining me. This has been wonderful. Joining me now is Shelly Mober, a self-taught artist from Fayetteville, Arkansas, who experiments with mixed media and oil painting. Welcome back to the show, Shelly.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited you asked.
Yes, me too. It's been a while. I think you were on, I think it was like season 3 or something. Yeah.
Yep, 2019.
Well, I thought this episode would be perfect for you since we're talking about health and wellness and art. And, the medical community has come a long way with looking at art as a modality for healing.
Right.
So what are your thoughts about it? Does art help you with health and wellness? What's your journey been like?
It's really my base of functioning, honestly, now. I know we talked about this in the last interview I had with you, but I had an 18-year addiction, opiate dependency after I broke my back when I was pregnant with my son. And One of the things that I'm now realizing after, now I'm in my 6th year of clean time
Congratulations.
from opiates. Thank
Mhm.
you. And what I'm, learning now with my art and also with my mental health care is that I process everything in I'm starting to realize that I process everything totally different than other people do.
Mm.
And I'm able to express that with my painting and my art. A lot of in fact, why I do my spiral art is anxiety. And that's
Mm.
how I work out my anxiety. So you could look through even my Instagram portfolio per se, and you can see the segments of a month of anxiety because all of my work is spirals or
Interesting.
bubbles or
Right.
something like that.
So that circular motion as you're creating helps to ease the anxiety?
Oh, absolutely. And it centers me. I tried to take a few cues from my therapist and, try to breathe in and out and just feel everything that is coming through my body, especially during a panic episode.
Mm.
I think I numbed all of that, with opiate addiction.
Mhm.
And so when I did get clean, it was like it hit me like a brick wall. That's how I've stayed clean. And I had probably 150 to 200 times that I tried to be clean or
Wow.
more
Wow.
or more. And so I was absolutely determined this time I had to do it to save the relationships in my life and my life.
Your own life, right?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So would you say that art saved your life in essence?
Oh, absolutely. I know it did. I tell people that all the time. Art saved my life. Art is my life. Art was my life before addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And addiction absolutely deadened me to feeling anything and everything. And so I think when I did get clean, the anxiety increased to a level that I didn't know how I was going to function.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sure you remember me. I am extremely calmed down considering I couldn't stop moving.
Mm-hmm.
In my first few years of clean time, I was so anxious. I mean, my hair was falling out. I was so nervous and
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I do remember, and I see
Yeah.
I see a big change in how you present yourself. There's sort of an underlying calm that I feel now that I didn't feel
Absolutely.
before. And so
Right.
congratulations on
Thank
that.
you. Thank you, Wendy.
And
You've been such a great support through this all.
Oh, it's my pleasure, and your artwork is amazing.
Thank you.
I'm looking at this David Bowie portrait behind you.
So the person that actually owns this is in the process of moving. So she asked me if I could keep it in the studio. I said, sure.
I love it.
I did finish up a really interesting piece today that I think I'm going to show at the Black Apple Awards.
I love that. Beautiful.
And I'm doing a series of 4 of the 12 by 12s.
Mm-hmm.
I really like it because it looks almost psychedelic.
Right. Yeah, it has some movement to it.
Yeah, it has a lot of movement, but it also has a metallic that it looks different from every angle. So I really love doing that, something that looks multi-dimensional.
Right. I would think with anxiety and even PTSD, that having all that movement would also be calming. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
You're
about
absolutely
that?
right.
Yeah.
A couple of the symptoms that I have that I'm sure you're very aware of is the hypervigilance.
Mm-hmm.
And my hypervigilance used to be so bad that I couldn't have my back to anyone.
Sure, right.
And now just processing, not so much with my paper pieces, but definitely with my oil. I work on them for hours and hours and hours, like an entire day, of just focusing on these fine details, and it's zen-like to me. So it's
That's
I'm just
amazing.
excited to be alive. Honestly,
Yes, I'm
I
excited
was
that you're alive
literally
and
in hell.
and
I was in
well,
hell.
you know. Yeah. So
So
how, what, do you have any advice for someone who maybe is at the start of their journey, and maybe they never really explored art? You know,
right.
is art still a modality for healing if someone's not
Oh
an
my
artist?
goodness, absolutely. It's about practice, and it's about experimentation, and you can't be too hard on yourself,
Right. And
because when you
maybe,
rip yourself apart,
right, that's
it
not
shows.
helpful. Sure. And maybe the product isn't even the
No,
goal, you know,
no,
the journey of actually doing it. When you were talking about the spirals and the circles, you
yeah,
know, that's really the journey of creation. And what comes out at the end for someone perhaps who doesn't call themselves an artist may not even matter. I don't know.
even if you feel like you don't have talent, just getting words on a paper, that's art to me.
Yes. Right.
Change your house around. Make yourself in something that you feel comfortable in. That's art. So that's why I think just everything, your plate at dinner time can be art.
Right.
That's my
Great point.
perspective.
Yes, I love that. Where can people get in touch with you?
Well, Instagram is pretty much my mainstay. Facebook as well. I know you have my handles. I'm also co-founder of a makers group in Northwest Arkansas, and it's called NWA Makers. And you can get to me through the gallery page on the Instagram. I will plug that we are having a spring makers market April 30th on Mount Sequoia. And we have, I think at this point, 91 artists signed up.
Amazing.
So it's a lot of work. And we've got a great team. Kat Barlow and Bo Jetton and I are all handling it. And we're going to pull off a really beautiful event.
I love it. I think art and music and all of it is sort of coming back from the pandemic state that we've all been in. I know,
it's so exciting.
I hate to even say it out loud almost, you know, but,
right.
But it seems that way.
Exactly. I feel the same way.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for joining me. It's been delightful.
Miss Teddy here with your Food is Medicine Minute. What if I told you I had the secret for better brain health, improve your flexibility, minimize stress, reduce depression, help with weight loss, increase energy, improve cardio, have better coordination, strength, and balance. It can improve your social and emotional health, and it can help with self-esteem and confidence. The secret, my friends, is to just turn on some music and bust a move and dance. Yes, dancing helps with everything I told you to do. So just dance, folks. It's not that hard, and it's fun. For more information on Food is Medicine, please feel free to contact me at Learn from Teddy on Facebook. Thank you.
Well, that was some really great information from artists and musicians. And Miss Teddy, did you see the bloopers from Miss Teddy's film
Yes,
this
we
week?
shared those with all the crew, the Wendy Lovett show, and her laugh. Like I said, I told you that if I could make myself laugh like that, like maybe at least once a day, I think I would be good. I think I'd be good. She is absolutely hilarious.
Yes.
And that laugh, what the?
Yeah, the laugh is
if I laugh like that, I would laugh at my laugh and then laugh and laugh and laugh. That's what I would do. That's insane. She's awesome.
Yes, for sure. So let's talk about new music this week instead of what we've been watching. What have you been listening to? What's new out there?
That's a good question. I'm lucky enough with what I do that I get to hear a lot of new music, but I really search on my own. You know, you don't have to have a profession like mine to, listen to new music. There's all sorts of ways and outlets that you can do that. I am a huge fan, and he's been featured on the show of Sean James.
Oh,
I want to let
yes.
you know he's got a new album out, and I was just looking through this. He's charting on a new single, it gets me excited because that means more people get to listen to him, and more people get to experience Sean James. He's actually doing a United States tour, then going overseas and doing a tour. But
Nice.
the new single is called "Blood from a Stone."
Mhm.
And if you want to hear, you've heard it. If you listen to a couple episodes or watch a couple episodes of the show, you've heard it. But you want to hear an amazing voice. This guy's incredible. So I
Yes.
definitely highly suggest this. And also a good time right now if you're trying to go out to a festival this season to start listening. Go to those, festival lineups and start listening to those smaller word bands.
Oh, yeah.
And always suggest that, and finding some new music that maybe you'll love before you go out there and check out all these bands maybe at a festival a little
That's
later
really
on
good
this year.
advice because
Yes.
if you've heard it a few times, like at home, then when you go to the festival, it feels familiar,
Yes.
and
And
that's
it's
always more fun.
yeah, way better experience. And then you kind of anticipate these bands that come up on stage, like, oh my gosh, I've been listening to them. And it kind of gives you a little bit more of an attachment when you look blankly at a lineup and you don't know
Right,
very many bands.
right.
A lot of people that get older or even younger
Mhm.
that are not in the scene so much. It sometimes helps to just go through that and listen to some of those bands and kind of get a little bit more familiar.
Yeah, for sure. And it's so much fun to see Sean James' success when you've seen him locally.
Yes.
That it just feels so good. You feel so good for them.
Right. And just
Yeah.
how much he's worked. We know that.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Well, I think tonight, Angela and I are going to go out and listen to some live music, which we have not been doing at all. When we're finished recording, I'm going to check out what's going on tonight.
So where are you going? Where do you know yet? Do you
I
know
don't
what
know
you're doing?
yet. I don't know yet,
But
but
this will be one of the first times you've actually been out and seen live music.
yes, yes.
I talked about it earlier in the show. You were going to cry tonight, Wendy. It's something weird, like the energy in the room, and you're just going to lose it for a half a second. I did.
Yeah, I have so missed that. If anyone knows me, I'm typically was out watching live music, creating shows and festivals,
Oh yeah.
and just was such a huge part of my life that hasn't been there the last 2 years. And I think it has affected my health and wellness because I so enjoy doing that. And you're so right, that energy in the room that you
Yes.
can't get any other way. You can't get it by watching a live stream.
No, and you can't. And it's the sound and the energy and the everything that's in the room. It's yeah, there's nothing that can match it. So
Right.
especially if you're into music, if you have any kind of love for listening to around the house and things like that. Some people are just. My old boss used to say he had a wooden ear, like he didn't listen to any music, and that's perfectly fine. But
Right.
hopefully you have an outlet for the arts, and get to experience it. The live experience with music is unparalleled. You can't really match that.
Right, for sure. And I love also, combining the two. Like if there's something at a gallery and there are live musicians performing, for me, that experience just really fills me up. It's like nothing else.
Yeah, it reminds me. There's a guy named Randall Shreve that puts on a whole sideshow while
Hmm.
he does the songs. And there's I remember one show he did. He had people hooked, like they hooked on their skin, like put hooks in their skin and swung over the crowd. And they
Yes.
do like all sorts of acrobats and stuff.
Hmm.
So yeah, visuals are always super cool when you can add those to the music too. I hope that you can find something like that tonight in town, Wendy. Like I
Yes.
don't know what they got like in the middle of the week when we're doing this, but hey,
Right.
you're gonna find live music. I think you'll find it somewhere.
Yeah, we'll find something, and it'll be the start of coming back out into that world. I think we're starting to see it build some momentum again. And
Well, I
that's
hope you get a
exciting.
big old breath of just relief, because it's, that's kind of what I felt after I, got boosted and did all the things that I need to do, or
Mhm.
felt like I was safe to do. And yeah, I felt a lot of relief after that. And it's kind of
Nice.
weird, the things that you keep, the things that you just leave behind, though, too.
Mhm.
It's a different world. It really is. And I learned to really hang on to those experiences as much as possible. So instead of, all right, I'm going to go out here and do this, I really have been trying to focus more on the music and the energy even. So
Nice.
I think it did give you a little bit of a reset with that.
Yeah, for sure. That's wonderful. Well, coming up next, Training with Mary Jane. I'm Wendy Love Edge, and this is Training with Mary Jane.
And I'm Shannon from Off Leash Canine Training, helping you guys out. Today with Mary Jane, we are gonna work on place for her training. Let's see, she's already intrigued by it. She's already sniffing it out. That's such a great, already good start. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add some more treats to the mix. Good. Oh, that's a good girl. Now that she's all the way on all four paws, Mary Jane, can you sit? Good place. That's where I reiterate the word place. Good place. She doesn't want treats too much. I'm not gonna force them, but if she wants to take them, that's cool. Now I'm gonna say break. Yeah, good girl. That celebratory feeling, make her feel good that she just accomplished something. And we're going back. Awesome. Mary Jane, sit. I'm gonna ask second time with the remote. Mary Jane, sit. Good place. Uh-oh. So what happens when she gets off? I'll work on that in just a second. Right now, I'm just getting her confident being on it. Good place. Break. Good. All right. So when we start working on her staying there, I'm gonna start tapping when she gets off. I'm gonna guide her back to show her, hey, you made a mistake. No one's mad, we're not yelling, no one's getting loud. The whole point of this, it's just the rules of the game. I'm just telling you the rules. All right, come on, Mary Jane. Come on, place. So we're waiting for all four paws. She's gonna put her butt down, good place. That's a good place. Oh, she did want treats, good job. Now I'm gonna let her kind of be. If she were to get off, I'm gonna tap lightly and I'm gonna guide her back. So I'm just letting her be. Uh-oh, place, place. Good, uh-oh, place. And I'm gonna wait for that butt to go down. Good place, break. Good girl. Oh, she did so good. Oh, she did so good. Yeah. All right, this has been another session with Off Leash Canine Training and Mary Jane. Thanks for tuning in. Till next week. Break. Yay, good girl.
I'm Dr. Brian Nickel, your cannabis expert for CannabisExpertMD.com with a music and cannabis pairing for the Wendy Love Ed Show. Wendy's musical guest this week is Lip Truce. Now they're from Denver, Colorado. The trio, they've been together since 2017, originally playing as the band Sir. They remade the band in 2019 as Lip Truce. Singer Sarah Angela and guitarist Kim O'Hara and drummer Luke Methrins, I believe I got his name right. They decided to take the band to a kind of a new direction and move into a more kind of a pop kind of vibe to what they were doing previously. Angela worked a whole lot on developing a dramatic stage presence and on her performance. They worked with engineer and co-producer Bob Horn. Now, Bob helped to bring them to a kind of a new edgy pop kind of sound that they've really managed to make their own. They released their self-titled debut album in 2019. They did some live shows, local shows, as well as some streaming events due to the COVID thing. I listened to You Think You're Hollywood. Now, it's a pop rock kind of song that sounds like it has a little bit of Portishead in there, some Blondie mixed in, maybe a little Massive Attack, and a little sprinkle of Fantagram on top, all mixed together. Again, they kind of produce a sound that is entirely their own. The song is about a exit interview with a former lover whose impressions of themselves is the opposite of a reality. It's a very sexy, very well-produced and recorded tune with the very, very tight band backing up Sarah's very powerful vocals quite well. For this, I was looking for a strain that was pretty energizing to really match the confident energy of the song. For this, I selected Natural State Medicinal's Mandarin Cookies. Now, Mandarin Cookies is a very potent strain at 26% total THC, a little bit of trace CBD in there, as we often see. Terpenes show a very potent 3.8%. That's usually around twice as much as you see in your average strain. It is pinene, beta-caryophyllene, and linalool codominant, running right about 0.63 to 0.69%. The only other terpenes making mention here are humulene and terpinolene, both at 0.17%. Now, Mandarin Cookies, again, a very potent strain that will give you a lot of focus and energy with really high pinene levels and the high THC initially. The beta-caryophyllene and linalool, now they're going to kind of rein in a little bit of the edginess that the very high pinene and THC may provide. They will settle in with the terpinolene to kind of give a little bit of a chill, focused high, but you're going to be a little bit relaxed on the whole thing. I still recommend patients with PTSD or high anxiety levels avoid this strain, as it can precipitate this in you. So Mandarin Cookies, this should be just a strain to let you contemplate being in the position an ex thought they had occupied, and really enjoy the win on that one. The win being that you are more Hollywood now than they ever could be. For more information on all things medical cannabis, check us out at CannabisExpertMD.com. We're also available on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter under Cannabis Expert MD. And now I present to you Lip Truce with You Think You're Hollywood.
Count me out. I'm not thinking about you, baby. I'ma do what I do. Faded, making moves. Late night thoughts make me hate you. Distracted interview. Oh, you're so singular. Your picture faded to a blur. Like a real dick, sir. I'll see you, never miss ya. 'Cause everywhere I go, I get the Brad Pitt parking. Shake your sugar packet. Shake your sugar packet. You can't avoid all of the noise. You recognize my face, boy. Listen up now. I called your name. You made your choice, and now I'm everywhere, boy. Count me out. I'm not thinking about you, baby. Respect the hand that feeds. You barely met my needs. It was my house for the week. Looking back now I see. All you had to say was something, but like a skirt you run. Could have been your recreation, but now you're burning in my sun. 'Cause everywhere I go, I get the Brad Pitt parking. Shake your sugar packet. Shake your sugar packet. You can't avoid all of the noise. You recognize my face, boy. Listen up now. I called your name. You made your choice, and now I'm everywhere, boy. You think you're Hollywood. Think you're Hollywood. You think you're Hollywood. You think you're Hollywood. You think you're Hollywood. You think you're Hollywood. 'Cause everywhere I go, I get the Brad Pitt parking. Shake your sugar packet. Shake your sugar packet. You can't avoid all of the noise. You recognize my face, boy. Listen up now. I called your name. You made your choice. And now I'm everywhere, bitch.
I'm Candace Dyer,
And I'm Wendy Love Edge.
and this is Mile High News.
So Candace, what article do you have for us today?
Well, Wendy, today's article is out of Marijuana Movement. NCAA moves to lower marijuana penalties for student athletes and increase the limits for THC drug testing.
Wow. Well, I want to say I know nothing about sports, so I had to look up what is NCAA. It's National Collegiate Athletic Association. That's a really thought-provoking article. So what were the rules before?
Well, the rules before were kind of harsh, like a positive test immediately renders a player ineligible for 50% of the regular season. And then a second one would result in suspension for the entire season.
That's unbelievable. And no like third try. It's 2 strikes and you're out. That's crazy.
Right. Exactly. And then if you think about it, if there's somebody suspended and then they got a scout coming in to see, and they're not going to see him to play, their career is pretty much over.
Oh, unbelievable. So what are the new rules?
The key committee recommended that student athletes no longer will automatically lose their eligibility to play following the positive THC test. Also effective immediately, the THC threshold that constitutes a positive test is being increased from 35 to 150 nanograms a millimeter. And instead of an automatic suspension for a positive test, there will be no less play time as long as the school provides management plan and education for the student. Same goes for the second, as long as they complied with the management plan, whatever that might be. If they don't comply, they recommend suspension for participating 25% and of the regular season. And then if not on the second time, it would be a 50%.
Okay.
So.
Right. Well, that's a little bit better. I wonder what the management and education plan is and who's creating
That's
that.
what I was thinking. Like, I think maybe the school just comes up with a management plan on how they're going to deal with that. And then I'm sure the test or the education for the students is probably telling them how drugs are bad for them. And we know all that isn't true for cannabis.
Right. It's probably still got some reefer madness attached, but that is some progress. So what made them decide to change these bylaws?
This conversation all started after last summer when the U.S. sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson was suspended from the Olympics over a failed cannabis test. She admitted to using it in a legal state after learning about her mom's passing.
She should have the right to use that medicine, whether she's an Olympic candidate or in sports or whatever her profession is, in my opinion.
I agree. And I believe the huge backlash that people got for letting her go is probably what started this conversation.
Right. I heard also that NFL players no longer face the possibility of being suspended over a positive test either. Is that true?
Yes, and also the NBA announced last year that they are extending its policy of not randomly drug testing players for cannabis, and the MLB decided in 2019 to remove cannabis from its list period of banned substances.
Well, there's some progress in sports. It's not perfect, but gosh, that's definitely showing a record of progress.
For sure. And, we all know that cannabis is so great for after working out, the, coming down off your work and feeling loose and just relaxing your muscles. And it helps so much with the after effects of exercise.
Oh, sure. Just to calm after like a heavy workout or reduce pain, swelling. There's so many things that it could help with. So I think that the fact that it's becoming a little more open to athletes is really important. And maybe by example, we'll see that in other industries.
For sure. And it would be nice, the federal legalization.
Yes.
And that way that they could feel that they could speak out for this now. Because a lot of people, they just feel like if they speak up for cannabis, they will be backlashed on. And it's true. People do not follow you anymore because you're a cannabis user and you deal with that. So if more NFL players and sports people would stand up and say, hey, this helps me, that might change a few more minds.
Right. I think so. And I think we're starting to see some of it. I think we're out of the baby steps. It feels like there's some movement. So that's good.
For sure. For sure. And education's the key. I always say we've got to teach those people who don't necessarily aren't pro cannabis to open their minds about looking into the fact that it's so beneficial for so many people.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for reporting on this article.
This has been a Mile High News Report on the Wendy Love Ed Show. Stay lit, everyone.
Well, what a great show it's been. Do you have any final thoughts about art, music, and wellness?
You know, I think all of those go together so well. You know, a lot of people, especially getting out, which we've talked about in this episode with the pandemic, and people just trying to dip their toe in the water to get out and experience new music or show off their art and these things that they've been keeping in their closet or in their back room that they've been working on, all these projects. That's the one thing that I think we can really be excited about, is all of this new music that people have been kind of holed up with and kind of clutched to chest with. And it's about to all just blossom. I really have this feeling that this spring and summer, we're going to see a lot of new art and a big movement. And I just kind of feel that. So hopefully you're on that side of seeing that music and art and all these things really do have a big, profound effect on your wellness and how you feel on the daily. So encouraging you guys to keep on doing that and exploring new music, and never settle for like, oh, I like that old school stuff. You can always listen to old school music. I'm encouraging you to reach out and listen to some music maybe that you wouldn't expect to like, or an artist that you didn't know.
Right. That's a very good points, all of it. I think we get stuck in a rut sometimes with music, and we're listening to the same thing. But, you know, to keep growing, you know, there's all kinds of new artists out there and things to listen to.
Wendy's going to go experience that tonight as she's getting out and about and going to actually watch some live music. So and I'm going to say, I'm going to say, you know, it's time to perhaps get out a little bit more and do that yourselves. You know, it just really fills you up. And also I want to say, you know, even if you don't see yourself as an artist or musician, you know, explore a little bit. It's good for your brain. They say that people who engage in art or music activities have better memory and think more quickly. It's really good for you. So, you know, explore that a little bit. You can do your own little test on yourself. When you add some art and music to your life, do you actually feel a little better? You know? Right. And maybe like you like polka music. Like, I like polka. What? Like, you don't know. You have not explored that. So yes, definitely encourage you to check out some new horizons when it comes to music and art. You know, I think there's so many different outlets when it comes to art, as we barely scrape the surface when you're talking about art and painting and sculpting and just going out to some of the amazing places that house the arts and local places that do this. So encouraging you to get on out there, be safe. We're not just pushing you out the door. Be safe, and we know your own body and what you're what you're capable of, and get on out there and definitely enjoy it.
Yes, for sure. Well, have a great week, everyone. Bye. The Wendy Love Ed Show is sponsored in part by Caris Healthcare, The Relevant App, Lit Premium Smoking Supplies, 131 Inclusion Gallery, Irie Bliss Wellness, The Balm Cannabis Body Care, Lindsay Camp with Synergy One Lending, Off Leash Canine Training, and Green Harvest Health, inviting you to reclaim your wellness.